So, what are some of the valuable lessons you've learned? Because sounds like it's just an amazing space to be as you have continued your role as a program manager within the cybersecurity space.
Yeah, it changes, it evolves all the time. The things that I think I've learned, like practically speaking, depending on who you are, how you interact with people, there really is space for everyone in
Mhm.
cybersecurity. So if you're an introvert, if you're an extrovert, if you like to work with people, if you prefer to work a little bit alone, there's a spot for you here
Mhm.
because the domains are so wide. You just really have to spend a little more time upfront looking for where do you want to focus your effort.
Hi, I'm Anna Anderson, CEO and founder of the Women in Project Management Network. I'm a project manager by profession, a career coach, a PMP trainer, and a LinkedIn learning instructor. But more importantly, I'm someone who's been in your shoes. Not too long ago, I was filled with doubt, stepping out of my comfort zone and navigating rejection after rejection. It wasn't an easy journey, but through perseverance, hard work, and lessons learned, I finally found my yes. That moment changed everything, not just for me, but for the many people I've since had the privilege to help. I've seen how lives transform when you have the right tools, when you have the right support and encouragement to pursue those six-figure project management roles. On the Project Management Connect show, here I share inspiring stories from project managers who've gone through aspiring to hire. I also bring in industry experts, recruiters, and hiring managers to show us how it's done. Together, we'll explore practical strategies and actionable tips to help you on your journey. So, whether you're just starting out, transitioning into project management, or looking to elevate your project management career, this podcast is for you. If project management feels like your calling, or if you're just exploring, it's time to dive in. So let's get started, fellow project manager. Your journey begins here.
Hi, everyone. Today we have with us Tiffany. Tiffany is a program manager in the cybersecurity space, and she's here to share with us everything that you need to know as a program manager, project manager in cybersecurity. Hi, Tiffany. How are you doing?
Hi, I'm great. How are you, Anna?
Good, good, good. So, can you introduce yourself and just share a little bit about your background in project management?
For sure. So, my name's Tiffany Portis. I'm a senior program manager uh, in the cybersecurity space. And right now, I'm with JustWorks, which is a company that helps small and medium businesses offer benefits to to their employees. I've been in this space in the program project management space for over 15 years. And of course, I love it. I've been here since graduating and found that I love being in between the technical side and the business side, just making sure that we can accomplish goals and create environments where people can be safe and secure and get their work done. As efficiently as possible. So, just a little bit about me. I graduated with a bachelor's in business administration. My major was actually music business. Uh,
Hmm.
Found myself getting into project management because, of my training, but also some of my natural skills and personality, which served me in in being successful in this line of work. And I found myself going from different types of companies, learning and growing with large Fortune 500 companies down to startups and being able to see what works out best in those different environments and carrying that on to the next team or area that I found myself in. And so what I love is being organized and helping people realize all of those goals. And so that's why I've stayed in project management and really enjoy it and love to see more people getting into this line of work.
Yeah, I love that you came from a non-traditional background, music to cybersecurity. That's just totally opposite things. But what is cybersecurity? For those who don't know what that is.
Yeah, cybersecurity is really the management of information and the ownership, the access, the ability to manipulate and really understand the access to those things.
Mhm.
So everything from monitoring access and how people use information.
Mhm.
Also, how do you secure and make sure that the right people have the right access to the right information? And so I'm speaking a lot about very specific details, things that are precious to you, like your social security number or your
Mhm.
insurance ID numbers. Being able to manage and know that the right people have that information or systems or institutions. So that could come from like using the right type of key or understanding standards for sending email across countries. There's so many frameworks and
Mhm.
governance workflows that also help us with understanding like what is cybersecurity. Just thinking of all the vectors of how you use and identify yourself in your life. So
Mhm.
have things like a driver's license. You also have things like a social security card and the way that you navigate the world and have to use those things in order to validate your information, your family's information in order to access systems, funding, banking, even things as simple as getting into the right door. Um, that's all cybersecurity. And so, really, there's a plethora of domains that are included in cybersecurity, but there's quite a few frameworks that can help you with understanding. So, there's a breakdown that's actually out there. I'd love to share the map with you, but
Mhm.
there's like a high level map of what I would call the domains. So, things like physical security, like I mentioned, being able to get into the right door when you go to work, or if there's certain doors that have servers in them that should be only accessed by specific people. There's things like security architecture. So, how does one build a
Mhm.
security or infosec program? Um, and that would include things like the engineering side, cloud security, identity, and access management. Another thing to consider that's included is security operations. So,
Mhm.
actively monitor and manage how people are using those engineering principles and encryption standards. There's also security education. So, making sure that people at all different levels understand how to use and protect themselves when they're using your systems. And then there's things that are like threat intelligence. So, are you actually going out and looking for who is interested in your information? So that
Mhm.
includes insider threats, that includes external threats. So, are there nation states that are interested in your business or the information that your business handles? Are there people inside your organization that may one day want to take a server or download lots of information to share with customers or to start their own business? How are you monitoring and managing those types of threats? One other part is application security. When you bring on and use tools, so let's just say something as big as Microsoft, like Office 365.
Mhm.
How are you sure that bringing on a tool like that is secure, that they're allowing you to use things like word processing documentation, Excel sheets? How are you sure that those tools are actually secure and they're good for your business to be using? So there's a whole nother world that comes with
Yeah.
that.
Wow. It's a whole new world in cybersecurity that a lot of people probably don't know much about. But did you go to school for this?
I did not. I
Okay. So how did you go about learning all these things? Did you just apply for the role and then you just happened to be in an organization that is cybersecurity, or what happened? Okay. Yeah. Okay.
I think that there's a little bit of chance and happenstance and luck
Yeah.
and just where you are. I think over time it developed the interest and also the opportunity. Cybersecurity is one of those buzzwords that you hear that's like, oh, just like with AI, sometimes you don't actually know what that means. When I was in school, I don't know if there was a degree
Mhm.
program or even,
Not
that
for me, at least.
yeah, exactly. So
Mhm.
it's like, how do you find this out? I mean, I think some of the curiosity, when you do hear about new domains or just like those buzzwords, like Googling, what does that mean? What is that? And then looking and seeing what types of roles come up. For me, I fell into it because of how my career evolved. So I started out in just software implementation and it was a traveling job. I really loved that job. That company ended up being purchased, and so I started looking for a new role. I was able to move and work in professional services, and I learned specifically Cisco tools and learned a lot about consulting, how to manage clients. I got to see project and program managers go out and make clients happy, and I also
Mhm.
see when they weren't happy with their work, and I was able to learn from that. And so my career progression kind of pushed me into cybersecurity because eventually I got a contracting position
Mhm.
because of my consulting background and my ability to learn new technologies, my willingness to learn new technologies. So, like I said, they took a chance on me. I didn't walk in the door saying, "Hey, I
Yeah.
know how to do this already." So I do want to, of course, call out it's great to be prepared. It's also
Mhm.
just make yourself available and say, I want that chance. Give me a chance to do it. And so that's how I kind of fell into cybersecurity. I landed a gig with Bank of America, specifically in their identity and access management team. And that's how I really dug into cybersecurity more.
Yeah. Yeah. So, okay, so that's good then, but what are some of the skills? So someone who's like, because I know I have someone who is actually going to school right now for cybersecurity. Just I think she's taking some type of certification course because she wants to expand her knowledge in that space and have that domain experience in it. So what kind of skills do you think someone who wants to get into cybersecurity as a project manager, what are some of those specific ones outside of the common ones like communication, leadership, and stuff like that? Any specific ones or certifications?
Yeah, so all of the Security Plus, Network Plus certifications are great places to start. I also highly recommend getting some of the technical project program manager certifications. So
Hmm.
Scrum Master, and you can get those from a few different vendors. Those are ones that will help you. Also, if you want to learn SQL, because there's so much reporting that happens,
Hmm.
security operations, and also just understanding what your engineers will be doing. There's so many ways for you to to learn these certifications. I will say the best thing to do is to hop into just a security 101, cybersecurity 101 and figure out what domains interest you the most.
Yeah.
Because there's so many paths, you can start to learn just that baseline level of technical knowledge, and that's gonna be different if you wanna do cloud security versus, insider threat. There you're going to start on different paths. But if you start on one, which is, like I said, starting with understanding what the domains are, you can decide what certifications you want to get closer to or what's going to make sense for you. And really, a lot with cybersecurity, you will find is people want to see that you have done things, that you have the
Mm.
exposure. So if you don't necessarily have the budget or even a full understanding of like, I don't know if I want to take the test, or say you try to take the test, you can't pass it. If you have the portfolio that can show that you're backing up, some of what you can do, that's also going to help you out. Getting out there and doing some things like creating some of those reporting, creating packet sniffers, like going out and doing some of those projects are also going to be extremely valuable for you and really help you with networking and trying to find that right job.
Yeah, yeah. That's good. Thanks for sharing that because it's one thing to have that generic experience, but it's also a good thing to be experienced and have that domain knowledge because that's gonna make you stand out from, me and everybody else who doesn't have that domain knowledge. Not saying that you can't get in. Some organizations
Right.
will be willing to teach you, give you that exposure, but you're probably gonna stand out if you already have that domain knowledge and stuff like that. So what are some of the valuable lessons you've learned? Because it sounds like it's just an amazing space to be as you have continued your role as a program manager within the cybersecurity space.
Yeah, it changes, it evolves all the time. The things that I think I've learned, like practically speaking, depending on who you are, how you interact with people, there really is space for everyone in
Mhm,
cybersecurity.
mhm,
So if you're an introvert, if you're an extrovert, if you like to work with people, if you prefer to work a little bit alone, there's a spot for you here
mhm,
because the domains are so wide. You just really have to spend a little more time upfront looking for where do you want to focus your effort.
mhm,
I'll say that what I've enjoyed about my journey in program management is that I've been able to engage some of my core personality and core things that I'm good at outside of work, which is naturally I'm the organized person in my friend group. and naturally I like to come up with plans. And so that's, necessarily something that I feel like is a part of my job because I'm doing it
Mhm.
regardless. But what I've learned about the opportunities in cybersecurity is, like I said, there's space for everybody.
Yeah.
So there are technical folks that that are actually out there coding, developing solutions. There are analysts that are pulling reports, that are looking at information, they're interviewing people. They're not necessarily people that are writing things, they're not necessarily
Mhm.
coding every day. And then there's people like me who I'm not coding, I have none of that development background, but I am leading, driving, managing people that
Mhm.
do have those skills. And there's a really amazing spot for all of us. There's room to grow, and that you can be appreciated for what your skills currently are. You don't have to virtually change yourself overnight or, go learn something that you have no interest in, but you can find a spot in this world. So I
Yeah.
think that's what I've learned is that I didn't have to start all over. Like we touched on before, I came from a background that had nothing to do with IT or development or computer science, but I'm in a space where I work with all of those types of people and I didn't have to start all over. Yeah, I just want to throw that out there that really I learned that you can be yourself and you can really find a place for yourself
No,
in
you're
this world.
right. Yeah, yeah. That's really great, Tiffany. So, what's your day-to-day like?
Day to day, it's a mix of really understanding, short-term delivery and long-term delivery.
Mm.
So it could look a lot like I have meetings that we go over, current deliverables. So
Mhm.
something like, what are the projects that are due in the next 30 days? What are the projects that are due in the next quarter? And so I'll be in those meetings. I'll lead those where I'm working with people to drive the results. So we're talking about, okay, what's been delivered, what's going to happen next, and then what do you need to escalate or what do you need long term in order to make sure that we get there? So I take all of that information and then I share it with the appropriate stakeholders. And sometimes that means sharing it with people that are on my team or outside of my team, and then documenting and reporting that into the larger purview of whatever team I'm on. So that could be part of the day, just having those status calls and check ins with people. The other part of it is planning and strategy. And so working with leaders on my team to understand, okay, so now that we're in our current quarter, what's happening in the long run? Long
Mhm.
could be a yearly planning, it could be a quarterly kickoff, it could be a large stakeholder or large impact program. It
Mhm.
could be something new like AI, creating like new AI tools, strategies, developing how we're going to work with our organization and their stance on how AI can be used in a day-to-day job. So it's a pretty big variety. The only other part of the day that I try to carve out is just personal development. Personal development can include career-wise, what am I looking to do for myself? So am I trying to learn a new tool? Am I trying to learn something on LinkedIn Learning and complete a module? Do I want to chase a new certification? Do I need to network and look for
Yeah.
other people in my field? And so that's the other part of the day that I do try to carve out and say, what am I looking for in the next year? And am I taking those steps to get there right now? And that's what I try to evaluate. But that's probably like how I would carve out my day to day is just a lot of planning.
Yeah. 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 So, for someone who is trying to get in, what advice would you give them then?
I would say be decisive. And of course, when I say be decisive, pick something that you're interested in. So if you're looking at cybersecurity and you know for sure, like, I want to go down the route of program management or leadership
Mhm.
or development. And what does that mean? So pull up job descriptions that are out there because that's going to be a pretty good guideline for you.
Mhm.
Say,
Mhm.
like, if I wanna get hired as an engineer today, what would I have to do in order to start meeting 50% of what's in this job description? I think it's great to just pull a couple of those, throw them into something like ChatGPT or throw them into one of the AI models and say like, "Hey, what are the common skills or common certifications that would qualify me for these types of jobs?" I think what's also important is chasing the practical side of it. So
Mhm.
whether you're looking for what are projects that I can build in my spare time in order to start to build these skills, or looking for, I want to say mentors, but I call it I don't wanna call it mentoring because mentoring sometimes can scare people away,
Mhm.
because it's a big commitment, but looking for opportunities to shadow people on what they're doing. So, I call it shadowing because you wanna get the practical experience of feeling like what successes do people have in this space,
Yeah.
but what are the
Mhm.
failures that they're seeing and what are things that
Mhm.
they would do differently.
Mhm.
That's really where you're gonna learn and be able to take that information into a role or in
Mhm.
an interview and say like, what type of strategies would you employ in order to work with a difficult stakeholder? Well, if you've never done it before, you're not going to have a really great answer.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Mhm.
if you've worked with other people or you've observed how they've done it, then that's where you take that knowledge bank from and you're like, I remember seeing someone deal with a difficult stakeholder. I remember seeing how they got out of a really tense meeting
Mhm.
because someone was upset. You can take that practical experience and say, well, this is how I think I'd approach it, or this is how
Mhm.
I've approached it in the past because you've been a part of that experience. So
Yeah.
I think it's really about chasing the practical side of it, but also get the book smarts, read, watch the modules on YouTube,
Yeah.
educate yourself, but also do your best to get some of that practical knowledge and, reach out to people in your current organization, let them know, "I'd love to shadow you on a project. If you have something, let me know." Um, and work with people, let them know that you're interested and you wanna be a part of it, and I think that that's really a good way to get started.
Yeah, those are always game changers because if you just sit and wait, you're just going to keep sitting and waiting. But you have to get out of your comfort zone if you want something. And for you, it sounds like you've used your resources, you've cultivated a couple of habits to support you in progressing in your role as in cybersecurity. So right now you're a senior program manager in cybersecurity. What's next then?
Oh gosh. I the current place I'm at, hopefully the plan is really to expand, the
Yeah.
program side,
Mhm.
like develop more of a PMO, which is a program management office,
Mhm.
and really establish a lot of criteria and really success criteria, baselining how we approach projects and programs and kind of guaranteeing success. And so developing that, cultivating talent, is something in the short term that I'm looking forward to. Long term, of course, just continuing to grow my skill set. I think the future is so fluid, who knows? But I definitely think I'm laying the groundwork so that I can continue to grow in the program project space. I would love for that to continue to be in the cybersecurity space. And, everybody's developing apps and starting their own businesses and things of that sort. So I
Mhm.
hope to continue to expand on that specifically, probably in the near future. Continuing to do, speaking engagements, meeting people across the country, hopefully an international speaking engagement in the near future, but really just expanding my footprint and learning more about how that's hopefully what I see for the short term, but
Yeah.
who knows?
Those are great, great, great plans. Speaking of speaking engagements, I know you have a couple coming up. And I know you had shared with me earlier that you have one soft skills in cybersecurity. Do you want to share a little bit about that speaking engagement coming up for you?
Absolutely. Yeah. So I will be in Pontiac, Michigan, right outside of
Mhm.
Detroit, the end of March with Michigan Tech Con, 2-day conference where I'll be speaking about soft skills and cybersecurity and just talking about how a lot of strengthening those skills will help you with the development of AI and a little bit of how that can be, how you can protect yourself with more efficiencies coming into the workplace. So,
Yeah.
what's the human side of making projects, driving projects, making them successful, really developing those relationships so that you can see across the company and find ways for your teams to be successful. So I'm just going to highlight a lot of that information and just kind of reel that back in because the buzzword right now is AI and AI taking over and it's interesting and it's and a little bit scary because you're not sure what does that really mean, but at the end of the day, humans are still going to be able to do the human side of it, and I think as long as you continue to invest in that, then you'll find yourself on a good foot, and so that's what I'm
Yeah.
gonna
Yeah. No, I love that. I love that you're a program manager. I love that you have a specialization in cybersecurity. And I also love that you're going to be speaking with tons of people so they can understand some of those soft skills in cybersecurity and they can, maybe see themselves in those skills and be like, I can continue in this space. Any final words for everyone who's listening, Tiffany?
Oh, I just think that I'm so impressed by the space that you have created. And I think that's just a really big lesson to show. We all come from different walks of life, and there's so many opportunities out there. If you just focus on taking it a step at a time, you could be somebody that's launching your own podcast. So, yeah, I just think it's awesome that there's so many opportunities out there for each and every one of us. And it just takes you sitting down, finding what sparks you at the end of the day, and really moving forward on it. So yeah, I just hope that inspires somebody today to chase that goal and take that step closer to where you.
Yeah. And how can people find you?
You can find me on LinkedIn. I answer all questions and any sort of discussions on LinkedIn, but I'm /Tiffany Portis. I'm based in New York City and I have all of my cybersecurity stuff there. So articles that I've written in the past, I'll have my speaking engagements listed there as well. So I would love to hear from anybody that's interested in learning more about this career path or, just about New York in general. So yeah, that's where you can find me.
Awesome. So if anyone is looking, first of all, to get into cybersecurity and you're a project manager, you feel like that's an interest, Tiffany is here as your resource. Feel free to reach out to her on LinkedIn. She will be able to respond to your questions. Or if you're just trying to get into cybersecurity, she'll be someone who has that knowledge. She's been in this space for quite a bit, and you've heard her, share everything cybersecurity. Or if you want her to come to your organization and speak cybersecurity as a project manager, skills, hard skills, soft skills, certifications, she is your go-to person. Please feel free to connect with her. Thank you so much, Tiffany. This has been an amazing conversation. We will talk soon. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Okay.